This is a case study which compares and contrasts bundled and unbundled savings plans. Mr. James Tan, aged 35, has a goal of accumulating $60,000 in 20 years' time. He needs to meet this goal even in the event of his own death or total permanent disability. One way to achieve this is to buy a term plan and save regularly. For his age, a term plan to cover $60,000 for 20 years is estimated to cost around $180 a year. Using the savings calculator, he needs to put aside $3,000 a year to accumulate $60,000. This is a total outlay of $3,180 a year. His savings are guaranteed, but the projected interest rates are not. Two scenarios of 0.5% and 1% savings rates are assumed. In 20 years' time, 0.5% will yield $63,252, and a projected 1% savings rate in 20 years' time will yield $66,718. However, taking into consideration the cost of insurance, the rate of return will be approximately minus 0.05% and 0.45% respectively. We can demonstrate this using the savings calculator. Based on $3,180 of outlay a year for 20 years and a return of minus 0.05%, you'll find that the yield is $63,267, which is very close to the yield that you see here, given that there is a rounding, that minus 0.05% is a rounded figure. Let's do this with 0.45%. Again, you see that the yields are very close. This represents a reduction in yield of 0.55% in both scenarios. If he does not deposit the money in a savings account to earn interest, he will just have accumulated $60,000 after 20 years, and his rate of return will be minus 0.56%. He is open to learning more about an endowment plan with a professionally managed participating fund. Here is a benefit illustration. In this example, James has to pay a yearly premium of $3,412 over the next 20 years. He gets the insurance cover of $60,000 and has a guaranteed cash value of $60,000. Two scenarios of investment returns of 3.25% and 4.75% are shown. Again, taking into consideration the cost of insurance, distribution costs, expenses, surrender charges, and transfer to shareholders, the rate of return will be 1.55% and 3.2% respectively. We can demonstrate this using the savings calculator. Based on $3,412 a year outlay over 20 years and a return of 1.55%, you will get a similar return as the maturity value shown here. Similarly, if you were to use a return of 3.2%, the returns can be fairly similar. This represents a reduction in yield of 1.7% and 1.55%. If the cash benefit were just the guaranteed $60,000 after 20 years, then there's a maximum loss of minus 1.25%. James was also shown an ILP plan, which can help him reach his objectives while allowing him to choose unit trusts based on his risk profile. In this example, he will have to pay a yearly premium of $3,600 over the next 20 years. He is insured for $60,000 and is shown two scenarios for his investment returns of 4% and 8%. Taking into consideration the cost of insurance, distribution costs, expenses, surrender charges, and transfer to shareholders, the rate of return will be 0.27 and 2.87% respectively. This represents a reduction in yield of 3.73% and 5.13%. There is no guaranteed cash value. The plan runs as long as he pays the premiums, and he can surrender the plan any time. James can also consider investing the monies on his own instead of saving the $3,000 in the bank as in the first option. Assuming the investment charges of 5% are deducted upfront, this means that instead of investing $3,000 a year, he will pay $150 in fees before investing the balance of $2,850. Again, he is insured for $60,000, and two scenarios of investment returns of 4% and 8% are worked out. Taking into consideration the cost of insurance and commissions and investment charges, the rate of return will be 3.03% and 7.08% respectively. There is no guarantee on the cash value of this investment. Let's summarize. All four alternatives satisfy James' desire to have a specified amount given in the event of his death or total permanent disability. The first two guarantees a cash value at the end of the 20-year term. The returns are based on savings rates for the first option, guaranteed and bonuses for endowment plans, and market returns on his portfolio for the last two options. In terms of liquidity, early surrender of the endowment or the ILP may result in high penalties. As each alternative has a different cost, the actual rate of return is derived by deducting the transaction costs. The investment risks among the options range from no risk to partial risk to full portfolio risks. The maximum loss can be derived for the first two alternatives. There is no guarantee for the last two options.